Well, black boxes from a Latam Boeing 787 have been seized as an investigation is launched into what caused a flight from Sydney to Auckland to suddenly drop mid-air. At least 50 people were injured when the plane suddenly dropped altitude about half an hour before reaching its destination due to a technical fault. Passengers without their seatbelts on were launched into the air, resulting in cuts and bruises.
Immediately, I saw mobile phones and people floating near the roof, and then within a second, everything came crashing down to the ground, and everybody just started screaming and crying and asking for medical assistance, which wasn't really provided by the flight crew.
Earlier, I spoke with Robyn Ironside, the aviation writer at the Australian newspaper. Robyn, good to see you. Thanks for your time. This is every traveller's worst nightmare, the plane feeling like it's dropping out of the sky. What do we know about what was going on in the cockpit?
We don't know a lot, Ashley. Latam Airlines has said only that there was a technical issue that resulted in a strong movement of the aircraft. A passenger has suggested that the pilot said to him after the plane landed that his gauges simply blanked out and he lost control of the aeroplane. We gather it was only for a matter of moments.
Gosh, and it sounds like there was a real panic, as we can all imagine, in the cabin. What was the response from the passengers as all of this was going on?
Well, sheer terror. I mean, you can well imagine if the plane suddenly and unexpectedly feels like it's falling out of the sky, everyone would immediately think the worst. And I gather that's what was happening amid the chaos of people being thrown into the ceiling of the plane, the panels of the ceiling cracking, and crew also being badly injured. It would have been pretty chaotic.
And it all happened very quickly, as I understand it. There was no turbulence notification or any announcement?
No, there was certainly no indication that it was about to happen. No warning to put your seatbelt on or anything like that. Just out of the blue, all of a sudden, the plane just seemed to suddenly drop, and then eventually it was righted, and I guess some form of normality returned.
Gosh, it's a good reminder, isn't it, that it probably is a smart idea to wear your seatbelt all the time, although a lot of us are pretty used to taking it off when that sign tells us they're not necessary.
Well, I mean, people do have to get up and move around the cabin, go to the bathroom during the flight, so I guess it's not unusual for some people to have their seatbelts off. But it certainly is a reminder that when you're in your seat, you should have your seatbelt on. We saw that in the Alaska Airlines incident where the door plug blew out. In that instance, if passengers hadn't been wearing their seatbelts, it almost certainly would have involved fatalities. So yeah, these incidents are a very good reminder that seatbelts are there for an excellent reason.
We all like to think, Robyn, that air travel is only getting safer and safer as the years go on. Is that right?
Well, yes, there were virtually no commercial jet airliner fatal crashes last year. I think 2023 was considered one of the safest years in aviation on record. The redundancies that most aircraft have built into them are quite extraordinary. So if something fails, there's something to back it up. In this instance, there have been suggestions that all three flight control modes somehow failed for a short moment and were then rebooted. The Federal Aviation Administration, which is the US regulator, actually did know about the possibility of something like this happening, but we know that Boeing introduced a permanent software fix the year after to avoid it occurring. So it'll be interesting to see what the investigation comes up with to explain why this occurred.